Hello there, guys. Welcome to another unboxing from us here at Team Covenant. My name's Steven.
I'm Zach.
Hey.
Hey, that's my line.
I had it covered.
I'm Zach.
I'm Zach. Dang it. We're here with Rebel Aces. This is one of the new expansions for X-Wing. And it isn't really new in the sense that you get things that are unexpected. It's that you get cooler versions of ships that you already understand. In this case, being
different versions,
being the B-Wing and the A-Wing. And the first thing I want to do is take a look at these guys. I'm going to start with the A-Wing, which I actually really enjoy the look of the A-Wing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we got some blue and yellows going on, a little bit of red. It's really a classy looking ship. It's just enough like of the Star Wars grunge, you know?
And
like
a flare, yeah. It's got a little... It's like, hey, this is a cooler A-Wing than normal.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. If I'm going to run A-Wings, I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's the one I'd run.
Cool A-Wing to run?
For sure. Now, let's talk about the B-Wing.
I've heard some things about this.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that B-Wing, man. I'll be honest. I think it's fair to be fair.
Fair to be fair.
In this instance, I'm under the impression that it has too much wash on it. Like, it's just...
Too black?
And maybe that's what the intent is. I don't know the flavor of the ship, really. But, like, the red highlights are nice. The way that the stripes and the different things are painted is nice. But I do feel like it got a little heavy on the wash there.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's fair, right?
I don't think it's, like, bad.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be there's certain people that will really dig this feel.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised either to see people doing, like, a brighter wash on top.
Yeah.
To kind of just remove some of that, like almost grungy looking feel.
Can you do that? Can you wash with bright colors?
You can, yeah.
I'm not a painter. We tried to paint for a while. You remember that?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely brighten this up and make that kind of be less of an issue.
Yeah, maybe. But when, like, look, compared to the A-Wing, right? It's like a completely different style of presentation. So that is something to keep in mind. Not that really would affect anyone who's interested in buying this, to be honest. But
I mean, the thing is, it's still...
It's still great.
All miniatures games I've ever played, they're here. And the quality of these ships is still above that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's just when you get mind-blowingly good,
when you get spoiled,
every time, to have something that's in the just normal great category it's noticeable. So just that's what that is.
That's fair. We got the B-Wing with two really new pilots. It comes with one Blue Squadron, one Dagger Squadron, which you guys are aware of. We've seen that in the B-Wing.
And if you're not, watch our B-Wing video.
But we also have these two new ones. We have Nira Dantels, B-Wing pilot, 5 pilot skill, of course 3 attack, 1 evade, 1 agility, 3 hull, 5 shield. We can tell already why the B-Wing is one of the favorite ships of the Rebels.
Because it's good.
For 26 points, has the elite talent upgrade and everything else that you would expect. But the most important part of this ship, you can perform a torpedo secondary weapon attack against enemy ships outside of your firing arc. That is a big deal. That really is. Now, how big of a deal? I don't really know. The number of times that I've wanted to launch torpedoes at a target and had it in my front arc whenever I wanted that to happen is fairly high. Like, I'm usually, if you're going to launch torpedoes, it's kind of an on the approach kind of thing. So you come in, everyone's moving, you move your ships in, and you're going to get that arc most of the time. But maybe do you have 2 slots here? Maybe do you play it differently? I mean, do you wait and launch them late game? Is that the kind of...
I think that's really good, actually. I would say a lot of times being capable of, normally you have to keep them in your arc to do it, right?
Yeah.
Versus... maybe you target lock and then you go this way.
Yeah.
And you can still side shoot them or they fly past you.
It's true.
You get some really evasive ships like the Phantom that can just kind of get anywhere. And this is just a way to know that you're going to get a shot at them.
Yeah, and it's cool in some of the more control-y torpedo slots, right? So things that give stress, things that give ion tokens, those kinds of things. I never know if there's a missile or torpedoes whenever I'm thinking of them. But regardless, I think we'll probably get torpedo slots for various kinds of control effects too. And being able to dodge an arc and then shoot back behind you or to the side is pretty significant. So that's nice. And then we also have Keyon Farlander, B-Wing pilot here, 7 pilot skill. Everything else the same. When attacking, you may remove 1 stress token and change all of your focus results to hit results. So a stress essentially becomes a focus only on the offense, though. How do you feel about that?
That seems pretty good.
That seems really good. Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of seen in Wave 5, like, the amping up of, like, giving opponents stress.
Yeah,
and I think that's only
absolutely.
going to be more of a thing. But, like, turning a stress into a positive
Yeah.
is really phenomenal. And, like, the B-Wing has a lot of red maneuvers, so it is stressed a lot. And
Yep.
if that's essentially a focus, especially when you, I don't know, maybe have advanced sensors on a B-Wing,
Seems like a common thing.
it's like, that gets real good for me.
And it really gets across this idea that Keyon is a super elite pilot, right? It's like being stressed out is what I do, and then I just hit you harder because of it.
Yeah, it's I would say both playing against ships that want to stress you, and then also just naturally. I mean, this ship is going to take stress. So
Yeah, and pushing the limit type stuff.
being able to
and
turn that stress into
experimental
awesome
attack, that kind of thing.
is what you want.
So that guy's a real heater. I think a lot of lists are going to find a way to get Keyon into their build.
Yeah, and I think it's cool because a lot of times you see B-Wings, you'll see the more generic B-Wings because they're so good for their points.
Yep.
And so they're really bringing some heat into the name B-Wing pilots here, which I like.
It's a true story. Let's move on to the A-Wing then, shall we? We have Gimmer Sojin. Man, these are some hard names.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We got the prototype pilot and the Green Squadron pilot, one of each.
You've seen that.
You've seen these guys. Then we have Gimmer or Jimmer. I kind of like Jimmer.
Jim, we can call him Jim.
He has the ability. Now, this is interesting to me. He does not have an elite talent slot, which is weird because the Green Squadron does in this box.
He actually pilots other kinds of ships. That's what he does.
Oh, yeah?
I have no idea. I'm just making it up.
Nice. While you're at range 1 of at least one enemy ship, increase your agility value by 1.
Okay.
How do we feel there?
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Basically...
Who's running an A-Wing to survive? You know what I mean?
I mean, they have 3 agility, so that bumps it up to a 4, which is nice. They're highly maneuverable, so I can see this being, if you're going to run A-Wings, like this is actually pretty good in a...
Yeah.
Like you can get range
Selling
1
me.
and not be in their arc, so they're not the one shooting you. All right?
Yeah.
So if you have an enemy at range 1, then it's just 4 agility.
4 agility is really sweet, yeah. And it actually, I like it, especially whenever we're dealing with a lot of like the new large ships for Imperials with turrets and 360 that are just kind of floating around. Like you can just use that as a bank to be at 4 agility the whole game. Yeah. I'm just going to hang out around this enemy ship that's not really going anywhere, which feels pretty strong. For 22 points, that's not bad at all. We also have Jake Farrell. After you perform he's a 7-pilot skill. After you perform a focus action or assigned a focus token, you may perform a free boost or barrel roll action. We don't really need to spend a lot of time on this because we know it's great, especially because anytime we've talked about action economy before, and any card that gives you action economy, no matter what it really looks like, is going to find a way to be really useful. So I think getting a focus and then getting a boost or barrel roll is excellent. And that you can chain that out with certain stuff, certain upgrades and different abilities it's just going to be great, especially because it's also assigned a focus token. Yeah. Like Jake is going to do some serious work, and he does have.
You've got ways of assigning him focus, but even just taking the focus and then also getting a booster of barrel rolls is very strong.
It's really good.
So,
way to go, Jake! All right, so those are the pilots, and then we also have a couple of upgrades. We got 2 proton rockets.
They're my favorite. And by favorite, I mean I'm not really that
Which
impressed.
we've looked at, and we get it. Like, these are kind of built... They're built for the A-Wing. There's no doubt. This is the best ship to utilize this thing. You spend a focus. You get to roll... Essentially, on the A-Wing, you get a 5-dice attack at range 1 for a focus and discarding the card itself, which is good. I mean, it is good. It really depends on how you evaluate things, right? Like... I've seen a lot of players that play such different lists than anything that I would consider something that I would play, but they do well with it. Or it's like spamming rockets, or it's having nothing but evade all across the board. Like there are weird ways to play that I don't immediately value as high. That is good. So I'm not going to discount proton rockets.
I think
it's a questionable card though.
The biggest comparison for me is if you're at range 1 and you're spending a focus, even with an A-Wing. You would be rolling 3 dice with a focus versus 5 dice and no focus. Unless you have a way to get extra focus, which there are plenty of ways to do that in the Rebel. the Rebel build. So
it does also, as you add dice, the target lock gets better and better, right?
Totally. So there are definitely ways to use this, but you're going to have to really be building towards this kind of a synergy. And I just don't know that kind of a list is worth it. But I'm sure someone's going to beat me with a list like this and prove me totally wrong.
Prove you totally wrong, which is what we like to see. Enhanced scopes, we also have, not you in particular, but just us as an entity that talks about these things. Mm-hmm. We do like to be proven wrong.
Sure.
Enhanced scopes, occasionally, yeah. One cost during the activation phase, treat your pilot skill as 0. So it basically guarantees I'm moving first, and then I'm also shooting first, generally for like a high pilot skill.
Yeah, if you put on a high pilot skill. I actually really like that. For 1 point, being able to move first can be super important.
Yeah.
Moving last only, it's very interesting X-Wing, right?
It is.
It really matters when you can boost and barrel roll, which a lot of these ships can, to basically get out of arc and be in a certain spot.
Yeah.
But the guarantee that you're going to move first and not get your action messed with, and you can also deny your opponent actions, is really powerful. So I see this going on a lot of ships that, there are only a couple ships at pilot skill 1, right? So you have to particularly run ships to do that, to clog actions, basically, and that's a viable strategy. So being able to turn any ship with that upgrade into that ability is really cool. Because now I don't have to run the lowest level interceptor to have a 1 pilot skill anymore. I can run any ship.
Absolutely, yeah. And
so that's pretty cool.
This is one of those weird, upgrade slot that the B-Wings definitely are sporting. And I wonder if they're gonna really make the most use of it. Like, I feel like Scopes is really good on a ship that has a chained out combo that gets them a lot of action economy, right? Where it's like if I push the limit and then that's comboing with set, like I need to take that initial action to set the chain off.
Yeah.
Like Scopes works really well. So that's something to definitely keep in mind as you're looking at this card. We also have the A-Wing Test Pilot. It's for the A-Wing only. It's a title. Your upgrade bar gains 1 elite talent upgrade icon. That's significant. Not gains the icon, but gains 1. So I'm assuming additional will work there.
Which is phenomenal. Or you can put it on like old Jim. Give it to him.
And it says you cannot equip 2 of the same elite talent upgrade cards. You cannot equip this card if your pilot skill is a 1 or lower. So
that's really interesting. It's 0. And it's an A-Wing title, so this just makes A-Wings better.
It does.
Just straight up better.
And that on the design side, you play it safe, and knowing that you can go back and help out ships that need a boost is absolutely the right way to do it.
Yeah,
because you can't go and take away.
Yeah.
And
it's really hard. I mean, you can only plan out so far in development, right? So you don't know what ships are going to come out. A-Wings were originally released in Wave 2. Mm-hmm. When you're, at that point, you're comparing it to the Advanced and the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. So the ability to go back like this and just make some ships more interesting, I love it.
Yeah, this is really, really good. Can't put it on the prototype pilot. Sorry.
That's fine.
That's fine. Then we also have the Shardon Refit, kind of another revisiting of the A-Wing, which we've seen this for a while. It got a lot of people excited, including myself. It fills your missile slot. It's the A-Wing only, and says this card has a negative squad point cost.
Just clarifying there.
-2. So you basically make the A-Wing 2 points cheaper, and then you give it an additional elite talent if you're running anything but the prototype.
Which is really good. Ultimately, when it came down to evaluating the A-Wing at this point in the game, it's just not quite there.
Yeah.
So you make it more interesting by having 2 potentially elite upgrades or an elite upgrade in general. And then you also make it 2 less points, which makes it a very cost-effective ship.
Yeah, if you're willing to sacrifice your missile slot, which I'm always willing to sacrifice my missile
slot. Even the prototype here becomes a 15.
Yeah.
That's
pretty solid.
That's a significant change.
It's solid. It's really interesting, too, because the differentiation between the prototype and the Green Squadron is now a lot more vast to me, because I'm giving up 2 elite talent slots for the prototype instead, because this is a free upgrade. Now, I still have to fill it with stuff, but if you can't find 2 elite talent things to make your ships awesome, then you're having an issue.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong.
But this also makes it feel very much like an A-Wing, right? You've got these elite pilots in these tiny, highly maneuverable, hard to deal with ships, and they're just bringing it, and they're confusing and they're maneuverable, and it's really cool. So quite happy to see that on the A-Wing side of things. Let's take a look at the B-Wing change here. B-Wing /E2 is a 1 cost modification for the B-Wing only. Okay. your upgrade bar gains the crew upgrade icon.
Very cool.
That is very cool.
So for 1 point, this opens up a whole new world for these ships.
It's a whole new world, yeah. And I think a lot of players, I haven't exactly been watching, but I feel like the murmuring underground is, did the B-Wing need
to be better?
This kind of improvement?
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair point to make. But assuming that the crews are balanced appropriately, which I think is a really fair assumption in X-Wing, you're paying 1 point for possibility. And then whether or not the crew will take the B-Wing over the top remains to be seen.
Well, I think I think almost wanted and intended is a lot of times, like I said earlier, you see B-Wings, but you see the base level B-Wing. And it's just a base level B-Wing.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but we all know Star Wars is not necessarily about the base level B-Wing pilot.
Yeah.
So the ability to basically add a crew member is, I think, going to be more often on the more expensive ships.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even not, it then makes you put potentially a unique person onto that B-Wing.
Something
right?
cool, yeah.
Where it's at least
it's a Kyle.
At least Kyle is on the B-Wing instead of just the Blue Squadron pilot.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. I don't think it breaks anything, and you're gonna have to spend points to put the pilot on there. Fine.
Yeah, totally fair. Yeah. Let's move on to Jan Ors. Unique Jan.
I love me some Jan.
2-cost crew. Once per round, when a friendly ship at range 1 to 3 performs a focus action or would be assigned a focus token, you may assign that ship an evade token instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Now, I think
there's very specific instances we're going to want that.
Yeah. This is going to go really well on the Hawk Kyle because he can assign focus. So it's the ability to assign focus or evade. That's cool.
And let's face it, evade tokens are awesome.
They can be very, very critical.
If you got one shot coming at you, I would take an evade over focus for sure.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense. And it also works really well with ships that can't otherwise have evade tokens, right? It's low, I hate to bring the Falcon up, but low agility things that aren't going to get much out of a focus token can now get a lot out of an evade token. So I do like that kind of thing. How about Kyle? What do you think about Kyle?
Rebel only, 3 points. After you remove a stress token from your ship, you may assign a focus token to your ship. That's really good.
That's really good. Check out Keyon
it's going to be going over on that B-Wing.
So Keyon removes 1 stress token to change all eyeballs to hits. And then when he does remove that stress token, he gains a focus if Kyle is
which is pretty sweet.
Courtesy of the B-Wing E2 mod.
You obviously won't need the focus for the attack because you just used your stress to basically be a focus. But that ability to get... It's just action economy.
It is, yeah.
Anytime you remove a stress, you're just getting a focus. Okay.
Well done, yeah. So Kyle's bringing it too. These are really good, kind of cool utility abilities that further let you kind of dive into the... It's almost the deck building aspect of X-Wing, right? Where you're looking
customization.
Yeah, you're looking for ways to really make things sing, and maybe Kyle is the perfect slot for that. Maybe Jan is the perfect thing. It's I just need a little bit more evade. It's Jan solves this perfectly. The puzzle fits in there. Boom. Yeah. I've got the list that I'm in love with.
I dig it.
So great upgrade cards here, guys, in Rebel Aces. Some excellent new pilots, and then we also have the escape pod. Which I assume is for the mission included.
It totally is, yeah.
Beyond assume, I actually know that. We got some 43 markers here.
In case that's your favorite number.
I almost said the same thing. 43, at what point are we going to have 43 ships? Does anyone know? I don't know, man. Then we have 2 stresses. We've got 4 target locks. We got AAA-B and then CCC-D. Yeah, double C, double D,
almost
and then
triple,
double A, double
but
B.
Not quite triple.
Oh, did I say triple?
You said triple.
Man, what am I doing? Gen Con, it's that Gen Con fever, man. 2 evade tokens, 3 focus tokens,
7 shields,
7 shields, and a B-wing dial and an A-wing dial, and then you got your boost action card for reference. So it's everything you could want. If you haven't bought an A-wing or a B-wing yet, maybe you're just starting out X-wing, you might think about grabbing this to get you started instead.
Yeah, it's a great little start. I also think if you bought a B-wing and A-wing and A-wing, This is great. It reminds me of Imperial Aces, where
I have no idea why. I can't imagine.
It's almost the same thing. I actually would say it's a little better. Imperial Aces had 2 interceptors in it, which were sweet paint schemes. But this is 2 ships, so I don't necessarily know that most people need 3 interceptors. So if you've already bought an interceptor and then you buy Imperial Aces, it's like, well, I kind of have an extra interceptor. But in this case, exactly what you want. Buy an A-Wing, buy a B-Wing, buy this, and then you've got squads for days.
You got all the squads you can want.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. This is Rebel Aces, the expansion pack for X-Wing. If you'd like this, we do have it available on our store, teamcovenant.com/store. And if you like this ship, then let us know either in the comments or write a blog on the site, and let's find out how these new Rebel Aces are doing for everyone. So thank you guys again for watching. Zach, got anything else?
That's it, man.
That's it, man.
Stay on target.
Take care, guys.